Picture the night as a stage. You walk into it and everyone thinks they understand the part you wear. Leather jacket, practiced laugh, the low light catching the edge of your jaw. They applaud the costume. They do not see the scene. They do not know where the actor ends and the man begins. Silence is your weapon. There is a forbidden truth the crowd tries to bury beneath clapping hands and camera flashes. They teach you to roar so they can count your teeth. They teach you to pound the table so they can time the tremor. For centuries men have mistaken noise for dominion. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote plainly that, "It is better to be feared than loved." If you cannot be both. He meant consequence, not cruelty. When they notice, it is already too late. Here is the first betrayal of modern strength. You have been trained to prove. Prove you will not be stepped on. Prove you will not be cheated. Prove you are not small. Your chest becomes a drum. Your words become ammunition you hand to enemies. Never let them measure you. The theater of toughness turns you into a predictable script. Predictability is the simplest map to your ruin. But here is the paradox. The louder you scream your power, the earlier the world learns how to wound you. A shout reveals a throat. Eyes follow the sound. Shadows gather where you have exposed yourself. The quiet man, however, is a shadow of a different order. He inhabits distance. He keeps the eyes uncertain. He lets rumor do his work and leaves bodies of evidence nowhere to be seized. Silence is your weapon. You confuse anger with force. This is a child's error. Force without calculation is a sword swung by a drunk. The drunk believes the world will bend to volume. Power that eats its own hand is not power at all. It is debt. Every outburst costs you patience. Every performance drains your reserves. Watch history. The loud captain loses the fleet. The silent admiral survives storms. When they notice, it is already too late. Listen to an old pattern. Caesar negotiated by leaving his enemies alive and humiliated. Princes through the ages learned one grammar. Influence writes the future. Noise the past. Machiavelli advised the prince to be both fox and lion. Deception and strength in a controlled blend. He did not instruct bluster. He taught strategy. He taught masks as tools, not as crutches. Never let them measure you. Consider the psychology beneath the mask. Men who perform toughness are moved by a simple god, fear of being small. They panic at a glance that might dismiss them. So they shout until the room remembers them. But memory is fickle and attention even more so. People will remember what you break and forget what you build. Strength that must be named is already diminished. Silence is your weapon. But the deeper truth lies elsewhere. Power is not a trophy you carry across the room. Power is the way the room rearranges itself when you breathe. It is not what you show. It is the pattern you leave. Think of the scene. A table of men. Light low. Glasses clinking. One man speaks in a whisper and the rest lean in. He never raised his voice. He moved the conversation without effort. He is invisible and therefore inevitable. When they notice, it is already too late. There are 3 ways your fake toughness will betray you. First, your reputation. Loudness makes you odious. People avoid odious things. Avoidance becomes estrangement. Estrangement becomes isolation. That is how empires rot from the inside. Second, your opportunities. Institutions reward reliability. They do not tolerate unpredictability. A steady hand built markets. An explosive hand destroys them. Never let them measure you. Third, your peace. The actor wears armor that never comes off. He cannot laugh because a laugh might crack the mask. He cannot rest because rest might reveal the seam. Silence is your weapon. This is not softness. Do not mistake restraint for fear. Restraint is a calculated hunger. It is the decision to conserve motion until it becomes decisive movement. It is the discipline to let others spend their energy on spectacle while you accumulate leverage. Imagine 2 hunters in a field. One roars to scare crows. The other waits behind a shutter. Cold eyes. And takes the catch. The second man sleeps well. The first never goes hungry for long but always needs more noise to eat. When they notice, it is already too late. History provides faces to these masks. Think of the men who lasted. They were rarely the loudest. They were quiet like winter. They smiled like a closed trap. They borrowed the trust of friends and the fear of rivals without announcing either. They knew systemic patience. They knew that making someone fear your temper is cheap. Making someone fear your consequence is costly in good ways. Machiavelli insisted that a prince must appear virtuous but must be ready to act otherwise when necessity dictates. That is the cruelest clarity. Never let them measure you. You watch modern heroes and you see the opposite. Clips loop on screens. The man who acts tough is recorded, dissected, memed. The net archives his mistakes as if they are artifacts of character rather than storms of impulse. Evidence collects against him like dust in corners. The quiet man leaves no footage. He leaves rumors that smell like threat. Silence is your weapon. And yet the temptation persists because it has roots in human vanity. Vanity is a currency sold to the young. It buys applause now and debt later. The man who wants power must learn to dislike applause as one would dislike spoiled fruit. It smells sweet but spoils everything you will build. The real art is to make influence gravitational. Do not scream to pull people in. Make them orbit. Make them come by habit. When they notice, it is already too late. This is where discipline becomes erotic in a dark way. Discipline is unattractive at parties. It is unromantic in novels that worship the bowl. But discipline makes thrones steadier than any crowd. It turns rage into leverage. It turns insult into negotiation. He who controls his reactions controls the currency of conflict. He who waits to respond controls time itself. Silence is your weapon. You must learn to be unreadable. If a page can be read easily, it loses value. A rare book is wrapped, sealed, and presented only when someone proves they can handle the weight. The same for you. Wrap yourself in distance. Let there be a mirror always between you and those who think they know you. They will tire of guessing. They will misstep. They will hand you the consequence you never demanded. Never let them measure you. So practice the small cruelties of power. Not the cruelty of harm but the cruelty of omission. Leave invitations pending. Answer abstractions. Smile at truths you will not acknowledge. Keep your plans as a ledger hidden at the back of a drawer. Build networks quietly. Collect favors like seeds in winter. You will not need to boast because the world will begin to favor you through its own orbit. When they notice, it is already too late. If this unsettles you, good. It means something in you is waking. Power is not a right, it is a metabolism you must cultivate. The loud will call you cold. The insecure will call you coward. The hungry will call you selfish. Let them talk. Words are cheap. History is the expensive test. Machiavelli did not promise warmth. He promised survival. He promised rule. He promised that the man who can mix fox with lion, gentleness with iron, will endure when others collapse into performance. Tonight, as you leave the room, let your silence be a weight on the air. Let the light remember your outline but not your intention. Let them carry stories about you that will never match the ledger you keep. Take the long breath. Count the seconds. Walk away from the urge to prove. Build instead the things that cannot be filmed. Build influence that is invisible. Build consequence that is inevitable. Silence is your weapon. You return to the world at dawn. And now the mask is gone. Dawn is cruel because it reveals who never needed one. The weak wake frantic. They check messages. They check validation. They check if the world remembered them. The powerful wake slowly. They know forgetting is a luxury that belongs to others, not to them. Nothing is louder than a man who fears silence. Watch him. He fills the air with jokes, opinions, declarations of strength he has not earned. He does not speak to be understood. He speaks to drown doubt. But doubt swims, and one day it surfaces with teeth. Silence is your weapon. Here is the quiet truth. Those who insist they are wolves rarely hunt. Real predators conserve their muscles. They do not bark at shadows. They do not tell you what they will do. They show you only when it is already done. When they notice, it is already too late. You misunderstood power because you mistook visibility for significance. But look at the architecture of influence. The king sits high, yet the advisors in the corner whisper fate. The general signs the order, but the courier carries it, unseen, across a nation. The emperor names a war, a single scribe immortalizes it. Power has always disguised itself as insignificance. Never let them measure you. And here is the paradox that blinds the ambitious: the more you chase recognition, the farther you drift from control. Visibility exposes. Attention invites audit. When they can see you, they can map you. And a mapped man is already conquered. So control your presence as if it were breath underwater. Appear only when emergence is necessary. Retreat before applause begins. Let curiosity replace attention. Silence is your weapon. Observe the world carefully. People fear what they cannot place. They respect what they cannot predict. They envy what they cannot touch. Mystery is currency. Predictability is poverty. History bows to those who built shadows taller than their statues. Yet the deeper truth lies elsewhere. Power is not about domination. It is about shaping expectations without revealing the hand that shapes them. It is when your absence carries more meaning than another man's presence. It is when your silence is a verdict. It is when they consider you before they speak, before they act, before they defy, when they notice. It is already too late. Consider ancient courts. The loudest minister was often first to fall. Accused of ambition, the quiet strategist, patient as winter, survived kings and buried rivals without ever raising his tone. Machiavelli warned that a prince must avoid contempt and hatred. Loud men are easy to hate. Loud men are easy to blame. Quiet men drift beyond judgment. Never let them measure you. But here is the bitter teaching. You cannot perform this power. Performance smells. True composure does not tremble beneath scrutiny because it is not a role. It is a cathedral built brick by brick inside your spine. You must suffer the discipline of slowness, the luxury of withholding, the pride of understanding without announcing. Silence is your weapon. If you seek control, abandon urgency. Urgency screams insecurity. Look at the ocean. It does not rush to drown the shore. It returns, again and again, knowing nothing can deny its rhythm. Power behaves like tides, consistent, patient, relentless without noise. When they notice, it is already too late. And now we descend deeper, into the chamber where power is forged. Truth. You do not need to retaliate when insulted. Weak men react. Powerful men remember. They store offenses like chess pieces and move only when the board favors them. This is not cowardice. It is sovereignty. Never let them measure you. You think dominance is about raising your voice. But real dominance is a quiet refusal to be moved. It is standing still while others exhaust themselves trying to provoke movement. The storm that stands is more feared than the storm that breaks. Silence is your weapon. Understand people. They are suspicious animals. They fear certainty when it is unreadable. They call the calm dangerous because calm men see everything, commit to nothing, and strike with intention rather than impulse. The man who laughs last did not laugh late. He simply waited for the correct funeral. When they notice, it is already too late. Here is a principle whispered by statesmen and warlords. Never teach people how to defeat you by showing them what affects you. Pain must not contort your voice. Anger must never distort your expression. Disappointment must become study. Your emotions belong to you. If they escape, they belong to the crowd. And the crowd is unkind. Never let them measure you. In a world obsessed with performance, minimalism becomes dominance. Fewer words heavy as iron. Stillness as counterattack. They call it mystery. It is simply mastery of self. The mask is not needed once you become the thing the mask promised. Silence is your weapon. Yet you must beware one weakness. Loneliness masquerading as independence. Power without connection becomes paranoia. Princes fall not because they lacked enemies, but because they lacked loyal hands. Choose allies sparingly, but when you choose, protect them like a hidden fortress. Loyalty is the only wealth that stays when fortunes dissolve. When they notice, it is already too late. Look again at those who posture. They collect enemies because they exhaust goodwill. They mistake fear for respect. And fear without admiration becomes revolt. Machiavelli said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved." If one of the two must be lacking. But he never said you must choose one in public. He meant an outcome, not an expression. The wise prince appears generous to the people and ruthless only to those who betray. Never let them measure you. Strength is not the blow. Strength is the patience to choose when the blow matters. Strength is walking past battles designed to trap your ego. Strength is letting fools declare themselves by speaking while you assess the room from silence. And here is where your evolution begins. Turn your gaze inward. Ask not how to appear powerful, but how to remain sovereign when no one applauds. Power grows faster in secrecy than in attention. Remember this and you will age like stone, unmoved, shaping the landscape instead of being weathered by it. You are not here to impress. You are here to endure. You are here to design consequences rather than deliver explanations. You are here to build a gravity that bends the behavior of others without lifting your voice. If this unsettles you, it is because part of you still craves noise. Let it die. Let silence replace hunger. Let anticipation replace ego. Let inevitability replace force. Then walk into the world like someone who knows storms bow to mountains. Silence is your weapon. When they notice, it is already too late. There comes a moment in every life when performance collapses. When the crowd leaves. When applause fades. When the mask sits heavy in your palm, warm from the heat of insecurity. And you must ask yourself a question no echo can answer. Was I powerful? Or merely loud? Most men never face that moment. They drown it with noise, with validation, with the constant hum of being seen. They fear stillness because stillness demands truth. They fear quiet because quiet reveals whether their soul is iron or dust. Silence is your weapon. Let me tell you what breaks the strong. Not defeat, not opposition, but exposure. The moment the world sees they're powered by recognition, not resolve. A candle looks bright until the sun rises. When they notice, it is already too late. There is a secret kings understood. Power is not the crown. The crown simply reveals whether you were always a king or merely someone who longed to be noticed. A lion does not think about being feared. He simply feeds. And the savannah learns. Never let them measure you. You are not here to impress the room. You are here to rearrange it. Quietly, without warning, without announcements. The man who announces his rise invites resistance. The man who climbs in silence inherits a throne no one saw him build. Silence is your weapon. Yet the deeper truth lies beneath the discipline. Control is not about others. It begins with mastery of yourself. The world is loud with men who can command armies but cannot command their impulses. They win kingdoms and lose sleep. They conquer nations and remain slaves to their own hunger. Niccolò Machiavelli warned of this disease. He did not praise chaos disguised as strength. He praised calculation. When they notice, it is already too late. Look at the patterns. In every empire's fall, there was a moment when the ruler believed presence was power. He filled halls with statues of himself. He made decrees to remind people he breathed. He asked loyalty to kneel before applause. And then one night the torches went out, and someone else sat in silence where he once shouted. Constant visibility is a death sentence disguised as glory. Modern men have forgotten this. They confuse virality with command. They confuse attention with influence. They confuse noise with legacy. But fame is a bargain where you exchange mystery for exposure. Strategy for applause. Sovereignty for dopamine. Those who chase relevance decay in public. Those who chase mastery dominate in silence. Never let them measure you. Do not fear being underestimated. The underestimated are unguarded. Shadows move easier in doubt than in spotlight. You do not need validation to breathe. You do not need witnesses to become inevitable. A seed in the dark grows roots that the sun will bow to later. Silence is your weapon. But here lies the razor. Do not confuse invisibility with passivity. You must act. Soft steps. Sharp consequences. A calm voice that carries the weight of storms. Measured motion. Like a blade sliding from a sheath under candlelight. The world fears what moves only when it chooses. When they notice, it is already too late. Detach from the childish desire to prove. There is no honor in reacting. Reaction is puppetry. And strings are chains. You don't break chains by pulling louder. You break them by holding still until metal fatigues. Patience as weapon. Time as ally. Distance as crown. Never let them measure you. There is a part of you that aches to erupt. Let it starve until it becomes purpose. There is a part of you that wants to scream. Let it go silent until silence becomes a throne. The world expects force. It does not understand restraint. And what the world does not understand, it fears. Silence is your weapon. Hear this and let it stitch itself into your marrow. You do not win by shouting, you win by shaping the moment where shouting becomes unnecessary. You do not command by insisting, you command by existing. You do not survive by demanding respect, you survive by becoming the consequence of disrespect. A prince who understands perception does not need war to terrify, he needs only patience. Obscurity. And timing sharp as winter air. True power is not loud, true power is not seen, true power is felt. It arrives like dusk, no announcement, just an unavoidable dimming of one world and the rise of another you quietly built while others bragged. You are not here to be admired, you are here to be remembered. In silence you are here to leave a mark that cannot be erased because no one saw the hand that carved it. If this unsettles you, it is because you are shedding the part of you that needed witnesses to exist. That part was never meant to survive adulthood. Let it die here. Let it drown quietly in the dark where weak ambitions go to rot. Then rise without noise, without ceremony, without the trembling desire to be seen. Become the whisper that bends futures, become the presence that shifts rooms, become the absence that terrifies. And when they speak your name, let them lower their voice note out of courtesy, but instinct. Because the most dangerous man is the one who stopped needing to prove he is one. Silence is your weapon when they notice. It is already too late.